And now an important announcement from Kitty.
Good evening. My name's Kitty. I've had a boob off and I can't stomach whelks, so that's me for you. I don't know why I've been asked to interrupt your viewing like this, but I'm apparently something of a celebrity since I walked the Pennine Way in slingbacks in an attempt to publicise mental health. They've asked me to talk about aspects of life in general. Nuclear war, peg bags. I wasn't going to come today, actually. I'm not a fan of the modern railway system. I strongly object to paying £27.50 to walk the length and breadth of the train with a sausage in a plastic box. But they offered me a chopper from Cheadle, so here I am. I'm going to start with the body. You see, I don't mince words. Time and again I'm poked in the street by complete acquaintances. "Kitty," they say to me, "how do you keep so young? Do you perhaps inject yourself with a solution deriving from the placenta of female gibbons?" Well, no, I say, I don't, as it happens. I'm blessed with a robust constitution. My father's mother ran her own abattoir, and I've only had the need of hospitalisation once, when I was concussed by a electric potato peeler at the Ideal Home exhibition. No, the secret of my youthful appearance is simple. Mashed swede. As a face mask, as a nightcap, and in an emergency as a draft excluder. I do have to be careful about my health because I have a grumbling ovary which once flared up in the middle of the gondoliers. My 3 rules for a long life are regular exercise, hobbies, and complete avoidance of midget gens. I'm not one for dance classes, feeling if God had wanted us to wear leotards, he'd have painted us purple. I have a system of elastic loops dangling from the knob of my cistern cupboard. It's just a little thing I knocked up from some old knicker waistbands. I string up before breakfast and I can exert myself to Victor Sylvester till the cows come home. There's also a rumour going around our block that I play golf. Let me scotch it. I do have what seems to be a golf bag on my telephone table, but it's actually a pyjama case made by a friend who has trouble with her nerves in Buckinghamshire. Well, I can't stop chatting, much as I'd like to. My maisonette backs onto a cake factory, so I'm dusting my knickknacks all the day long. And I shall wait to see myself before I do any more. Fortunately, I've just had my TV mended. I'll say mended. A shifty young man in plimsolls waggled my aerial and wolfed my gypsy creams. But that's the comprehensive system for you. I must go. I'm having tea with the boys in flat 5. They're a lovely couple of young men, and what they don't know about Mikhail Barashnikov is nobody's business. So I'd better wrap up this little gift I've got them. It's a gravy boat in the shape of Tony Hancock. They'll be thrilled. Now, who's got hold of my showerproof? It's irreplaceable, you know, being in tangerine poplin, which apparently there's no call for. There's a mauve pedestal mat of mine too.
Hello, I'd like to talk to you tonight about a minority group of people who have no mental or physical handicaps and who, through no fault of their own, have never been deprived and consequently are forced to live in conditions of extreme luxury. This often ignored minority is very rarely brought to the attention of the general public. The average man in the street scarcely gives a second thought to these extremely well-off people. He quite simply fails to appreciate the pressures vast quantities of money just do not bring. Have you at home ever had to cope with this problem? Or this? I know it's only human to say, oh, this will never happen to me. And of course it won't. I'm asking you, please, send no contributions, however large, to me.
We are sorry to announce that we have run out of programming, so here is my next door neighbour talking about stuff.
I can remember when pants were pants. You wore them for 20 years, then you cut them down for pan scrubs or quilts. They used to make lovely quilts out of Celanese bloomers, every gusset a memory. Not bras, they won't lie flat. We didn't wear bras till after the war round here. We stayed in and polished the lino. I didn't see OXO cubes till I was 25. That's when I got my glasses. And we weren't having hysterectomies every 2 minutes either, like the girls these days. If something went wrong down below, you kept your gob shut and turned up the wire list. We never got woken with the teas made. We were knocked up every morning by a man with a 6-foot pole. It wasn't all fun. We'd no showers. We used to club together and send the dirtiest one to the slipper bars. We might have been mucky, but we had clean slippers. And it was all clogs on cobbles. And when times were hard, we had every meal with condensed milk, if we were lucky. And no one had cars. If you wanted to get run over, you had to catch a bus to the main road, and of course the corner shop was the only one with gas. So you go cap in hand if you wanted to gas yourself. For years we had to make our own rugs. We used to stitch mice onto pieces of sacking. We weren't always making jokes either. I once passed a remark about parsnips and couldn't sit down for a week. Oh, but I shall never forget the coronation. 1953. We all crammed into one front room and stared at this tiny grey picture. Somebody had cut it out of a paper. Nobody had a television till the year after. I think we were more neighbourly. If anyone was ill in bed, the whole street would let themselves in and ransack the parlour. It wasn't all gloom. My brother went to Spain, and that was unusual in those days. Mind you, that was the Civil War, and he was shot for trying to paddle. Well, that's me done. Best be off. Got a bit of cellular blanket for my supper. Don't want it to spoil.
And now on the BPC, Country Life with Pat Cowes.
Hello. Have you ever planted your bulbs out in the autumn and watched them come up in the spring? Have you? Lovely, aren't they? Have you ever been out in the garden just after an April shower and breathed in that wonderful fresh smell? It's the grass and the leaves saying thank you, really, isn't it? Have you ever been up a step ladder and lost your balance and grabbed the fray light fitting with your bare hand and been electrocuted? I have. Oh, it didn't half sting. And have you ever tried to lose weight by having your jaws wired together and found you were half the night trying to liquidise peanut brittle? My neighbour has. Because life's not fair, is it? Some of us drink champagne in the fast lane, and some of us eat our sandwiches by the chippings on the A597. Oh, and it makes me mad when people complain. I mean, if it starts to rain, what do? You stick a brolly up. And do you know what I'd like to do to those moaners and miserable complainers? Stick a brolly up, I would.
Hesitantly, reluctantly, Helen slipped out of a sling tight-waisted waspy and stood, naked, in the moonlight before me. Somewhere a clock chimed 3. An owl hooted in the nearby copse. No wind stirred the casement window. She stood in the pale, translucent light of the Persian carpet. A minute passed. Then another. Then another minute. Then another minute passed. Then another minute passed. And another. A further minute passed quickly, followed by another minute, when suddenly a different minute passed, followed by another different minute, and another, and yet another further different minute. A minute passed. I glanced at my watch. It was a minute past. This was it. A minute passed. After a moment, another minute passed. I waited a minute, while a minute quickly passed, and then a minute, which seemed to last an hour, but was only a minute, passed.
Good evening. I'm speaking to you once again as Chairman of the Law Society for the Prevention of Mispronunciation, a society formed to help people who can't say their worms correctly. I myself often use the wrong worms, and that is why I was elected Charming of the society. Firstly, let me put you in the puncture regarding our mumblers. Peach and every plum of them have difficulty in conversing with people they meet in everyday life. They're merkvates at the fig tree or the orifice, even in their own holes, min and woof, sather and fun, bruzzer and thistle, unable to communicate. This can be an enormous bandy-chat to our tremblers at all times, but especially at Bismuth time, because Bismuth is a season of grease on earth and pig's will to all men, when the family get together to eat, drunk and be messy, to gather round the fireside, cracking nits, smelling Tories and singing old pongs and barrels. Many of our rumblers lose out on these skinful pastimes. A very close fringe of mine, for instance, once went carol slinging with the local church choir, but instead of slinging, good King Wenceslas' arse stuck out, and his feet were steaming, he sang, "Go rest your belly, gentlemen, let nothing rude display," which of course caused havoc among the queer and deeply upended the knicker's wife. This is just one instance of what my tremblers have to stiffer with the lipped upper stuff. What we need now is money to build clubs and calamity centres, where people don't have to bother with the right worms. Places where they can greet each other with the cheery, "Good afternuts, how nice to squeeze you." A place where they can play a game of ping tennis, table pong, scribble or newts and crutches. Many famous people are patrons of the society, politicians like Whitley Whitelaw, Sir Geoffrey Hu and Mr Dennis Holey. Also famous TV nosebleeders like Reggie Boozencart, Angela Ripon and Anna Flord. And of course, Mrs Hairy Whitemouse, not to be confused with Mrs Woodlouse, the hog dangler. Among the aristocracy there is Lord Longfelt, the Duchess of Bedbug and Lord Monty of Gooley, but patronage is not enough. Remember the worms of William Shakepeace, our great national po-face. A horse, a house, my kingdom for a hearse. And of course, eventually, he got all three. What we need is printed matter, any sort of mutter, no matter what sort. Send your magazines, newspapers, dicks and dictionaries. Do it now. Bungle it up in pustules and post it to one of our mini branches dotted all over the Bottish Isles. Minchester, Birmingham, Loverpill and as far north as the Firth of Filth. And we are also busy setting up outposts in foreign pants too, all over the globe. In fact, we have just opened a branch in Siam. And now, in confusion, I would like you to join me in slinging the Siamese national anthem to the tune of God Save the Queer. Oh, what an ass I am, oh, what an ass I am a twit. Oh, what a fool am Oh, what a fool am I. Oh, what an ass I am. Oh, what a nit. Thank you. Good night.